For years, mankind has explored hidden powers of the mind. Most dismissed it as science fiction.
It is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what we're doing believing in all this nonsense over all these years.
But what if they were wrong? What if you could summon UFOs? With your mind. What if you had the power inside of you all this time? Would you try it? Would you be afraid? Or would you just go for it?
Because these are going nuts.
They're going off.
And you interact with them, you form a bond. Oh no, you can't record any of this.
Turn it off for a second.
Controversial, huh? That's my middle name.
It's like it turned on and got brighter for 1 second.
Yeah.
I know there's aliens inside there.
Did you see that, Patrick? Oh my god.
Did you hear that? Something is in the bushes right behind you, dude.
I'm ready to see something. If you're willing to show it to me, I'm open. I just want to see what you are. And I look up, and there are these orange lights that are just drifting above the tree line.
I just don't even know what I'm doing with my life. All right, y'all, how we doing? Welcome to the big show. It is early where I'm at. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is 7 a.m. and the 5th tranche of UFO files has been released. So we're going to go over them like we've done with the last 4 tranches. We're just going to go through as many files as we can, mostly sticking to the video and audio. But we also get into some PDFs and that sort of thing. Any images they have as well. We'll get into all of that. I'm going to wait just a minute or two to let people get in and join the live stream before we start. So just a minute or two, we'll jump into this. Don't worry. I've got everything set up, lined up. Is it going to be, are there going to be bombshell revelations in this new tranche? Probably not. Don't want to gaslight anybody here. The last tranches, have been disappointing. And I've seen a lot of people online talking about it, actually. People I wouldn't have expected talking about how these tranches essentially have nothing. So I'm not the only one saying this. These are, believers and disclosure effort personnel, if you will. They're also saying the same thing. Again, without any context, that's the same, argument most of us have. There's no context for a lot of this stuff getting released, so it's hard to make out what it is. Have there been some interesting things? Yeah, I'll admit that. There's been a few interesting things. So that's why we check them out, because you never know at the end of the day. Right? So look, let's, as a tradition here, before we start, again, give another 30 seconds to let people join the live stream, and we're going to jump right into it. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's do a vetted tradition here. Throw into the comments where you are watching from, and I'm going to shout it out here on the live stream. So tell me where you're watching from, and let's do this. Come on. Oh shit. Okay, here we go. Oh, North Korea. Oh wow. South Wales, Vermont, Boston, Tennessee, Argentina, Fort Worth, Utah, Maine, Chicago, Scotland, Florida, Vancouver, Calgary, Michigan, Serbia, Sweden, Mississippi, Chicago, Montreal, Ewing, Kentucky, Vegas, baby, Bavaria, Cabo. Oh, there we go. Bulgaria, Ithaca, New York, Sydney, Australia, Washington, D.C., Belfast, Germany, Toronto, Brazil, Romania, Georgia, Long Beach, Alberta, Croatia, Texas, Denmark, Belgium, New York, Clayton, New Jersey, Washington, Cali, Louisiana, Texas, Falkland Islands, Kentucky, Antarctica, you liar, Vulcan, Florida, New York, Germany again, UK, Richmond, Montreal, Louisiana, Ohio, Finland, wow, Charlottetown, Cocoa Beach, Missouri, Canada, UK, baby, the moon, New Zealand, Indiana, Italy, Greenland. Look at this, beautiful. So look, let's jump into these tranches. Holland, London, okay, Egypt, all right. Dark side of the moon, Toronto. As you can see, people from all over. That's what makes this topic so great. That the interest is worldwide. So let's jump into these tranches. All right, let me bring it up. Let's do this one. All right. As you can see, we've got the Department of War just released the fifth tranche. Is it tranche or tranche? You know what I mean? I feel like if I say tranche, you know what I mean? It sounds so pretentious. Tranche, the fifth tranche of records on the pursuit. You know, you've got to have that pretentious angle when you're saying tranche, because otherwise you just sound like me from Texas. Tranche. Got a tranche here, y'all. So they just released the fifth tranche of records. I just said. The first tranche was released on May 8th, and now we are at August 7th, 2026. Will there be more tranches? I don't know. So, okay, so let me show you this before we jump in. So this is for you to watch. If you want to go check this out on your own, you go to war.gov/UFO. Or if you just go to war.gov, you'll see the menu at the top, and you can also click it. Let me see, do I have, here, let's show this. There's the website, I put it at the bottom. I'm gonna take it off though, so write it down. Anyway, if you wanna check this out yourself. And as you can see, they've sort of broken it down. You can see release 1, release 2, release 3, release 4, release 5. So it's easy to go through each release and see what documents there are, or you could just look at them all. And you can search by the different types, the different agencies that release stuff, right? FBI, CIA, Department of War. You can search that way. So anyway, all right, let's jump in. So no, this is saying all. We just want 5. All right. So, and then at the very top, what they'll do is put featured files. They're highlighted sort of in green here, as you can see, right? So these are normal. And then these are allegedly featured, the ones they want you to look at. And, you know, is what it is. All right, let's, first we're going to go by videos. We're going to watch all the videos, and there are no featured videos. So let's just start with the videos. All right. Let me change it to this right here. Pardon me. All right. So we're just going to go with the very first one here at the top. We got 16 of them. This says, okay. Okay. This is 16 seconds of video footage. This footage is a secondary capture recorded via a cellular device of an infrared sensor display aboard a U.S. Special Operations Forces AC-130J gunship. I don't know how people say that. This footage does not represent native primary sensor data, and the secondary recording method introduces limitations in fidelity, resolution, and overall visual quality. Artifacts inherent to filming a screen, such as blurring or flickering, may be present. The footage contained within DOW UAP PR117 through DOW UAP PR122. So it looks like we're going to see like 5 different videos from this same event. So this is the first one we're going to look at. It says it was captured contemporaneously. Is that how you say that? I forget. Cold orbs, 4 feet in diameter. So that's what we're looking at. 4 orbs. Cold orbs, sorry. Approximately 4 feet in diameter. All right, enough yapping. Let's oh, okay, interesting. All right, so we've got a report for it and vids. All right, let's see. I mean, again, what are we supposed to do with that? How do we know that the camera is not moving and it's the object? I don't know. But yikes, y'all. All right, let's keep going. All right, we got 18. So this is the same event, I believe. All right, here we go. Yeah, same event. I mean, it just looks like a bug moving. I'm not saying that's what it is, but. And remember, this is caught on cell phone footage. There is audio, but it's just like the audio of the room. You can't hear anything from anything. All right, let's keep going. Again, this is all from the same thing. All right, this is 2 seconds long. Jesus Christ, seriously? All right, let's watch it one more time, I guess. Again, no context. It's really hard to be excited by this. Like, I know some people are, oh, look at that thing, it's moving. We don't have enough details to determine anything about that movement. And this is what people are sort of complaining about. All right, this is 14 seconds. Again, this is all part of the same event here. This one has no audio. Huh. Okay. Yeah, if we had a report of like, oh, these guys were chasing this thing and it was doing this, but we don't have any. We don't know what's happening. This is training. Was this? And this is over the Gulf of Oman or Oman. Not sure how you say that. Unresolved UAP report from 2021. So again, this is all part of the same thing. I think this might be. Oh no, there's more. All right. Okay. Again, you see like a tracking thing moving around. It's hard to tell what is moving. The camera, the object. Hard to stabilize the background. There was a part of that where you could have stabilized it. But again, without more context of what was going on, then there were some other objects, bigger objects that flew through the screen. You know, put it down in the comments what y'all think. Just type away. Let your freak flag fly about this stuff. Have at it. All right, there's no audio on this one. I wonder what those things are flying through. Like, it's clearly a military zone. Is that thing moving around? Let's say this is an alien spaceship. Why is it moving like that? What's the point of that? To make that kind of movement? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Looks like something that's kind of out of control. It's moving erratically, but not intelligently. Am I wrong? Like, what would be the point of that? All right, I think that was the last one from that. All right. This is a new set. All right, so this is a new set here. This is from the Pacific Ocean, 2019. It's a minute long. No audio. Just FYI, there was no audio. Okay. What are we doing here? I mean, come on. It's like, again, let me just double check, but there's, all right, related media to this. So there's other videos of this same incident. Uh, but again, there's no report. Just I'm beating a dead drum. I'm pretty sure this is just, this is the same object, different video. All right, we got a circle on a screen. Sums up the UFO topic. Clearly, they've redacted, so it splashed down. As it would say, splash, splash. So it looks like it went in the water or went somewhere else. It's hard to tell if that's water. I don't know. I think that's what they're implying. There's a little bit left. Let's see if it comes up. No. Looks like that's what they were filming for, to see if it would come up. That kind of looks like the footage that Jeremy Corbell and I forget who, I think it was Alexander Wiggins. I think it was his sighting. I'm not sure. I think it was the same thing, the splash splash video. That looks similar. I don't know if that's the same thing. Just released now. I could not tell you, but that's what I'm thinking. All right, looks like there's another video, same object, y'all. just don't see why we can't get better footage. Get this shit. You know, I don't know. Let's go on to the next one. All right, this is 2 minutes and 33 seconds. And if I'm not mistaken, yes, this is part of the same object, just a different video. Okay, here we go. The video contains 2 minutes and 32 seconds of footage captured via handheld recording device by a U.S. military service member in 2019. Low light conditions at the time of capture influenced overall visual quality of the footage. So there you go. All right, get ready. There is no audio, FYI. Okay. So one of them was blinking kind of like a plane. They both look like planes. But why would they have planes in... They've got a beacon. Boy, we're really zooming in on one. Wow, the distortion is so bad, y'all. Look at the background, the distortion. That means the light is getting distorted so bad. I mean, this is clearly the way it's moving is the camera. We already saw that. Right? That's why it's moving so erratically. It's the camera movement, not the actual objects are moving like that. They're kind of oddly in unison. The whatever objects. And it looks like two lights or more than one light, right? You can see like a break, a black break in between the lights. They look identical. Like one's a reflection of the other. I don't know. There's two objects flying in sync. I don't know. Huh. Interesting. I mean, again, there's no context. I have no idea what's going on. This is part of the same group of files for the last videos we've been watching, just to keep in mind. So this video I just showed you is part of a group of files that we've just been watching with the little black dot that went down potentially into the water. We don't know. That same, this video is part of that. So, you know, is this what was behind the infrared? I don't know. Wish we had some more context. Okay, we got, I think one more as part of that. Let me double check. Okay. So this is the last one of that group of videos that we've just been watching. So again, this is filmed by a footage captured via handheld recording device. Same thing, probably the same person that recorded the last video we just watched. All right, so this is 2 minutes, 29 seconds. Hmm. So again, the movement is the camera. At least I think, because like the last one. But again, you don't have any reference on here to know that. See the way the light, the stars, looks like they're filming the sky. I believe the camera is trying to zoom in and hold it steady. Yeah, see, that's a plane. I mean, right? That's a plane. The thing is if you want to see more than a plane, that's what's going to happen. It's all about personality and interpretation for a lot of things. You know, once it's in the ambiguous zone, I mean, that's a plane. Look at the beacon going off, if you ask me. You know, but again, if your mind is more, you know, wanting to see things, you're going to be like making every, not excuse, but you're going to be looking for everything you can to, you know, to get out of the plain thing, right? The plain explanation or whatever the thing may be. Right? And if you're looking for it to be more, you probably lean towards that way, right? If it's ambiguous and you kind of got to lean one way or the other, your biases are going to come out there, right? And you're going to lean, and that's okay. Everyone does their own thing. It's you know, it's all good. Um, you know, if you want to believe this is more than something prosaic, something human made, probably a plane, then you can. I mean, it could be a drone. I don't know. Is this an alien spaceship? What would make me think this is an alien spaceship? Like, why would I go there? That's the problem with unresolved. That's the problem with UAP. It doesn't really mean aliens or anything. That's one of the explanations. But why can't we have our own thing that's like we think it's alien, but we're not sure? That's much better than this could be a number of things. And I don't think alien spaceship is at the top of the list of what that could be. So again, why show us this crap? That's the crap we get. We get the bottom of the barrel bullshit, and we're just supposed to be happy with it, essentially, you know. And I hate that. We deserve more. Okay, this is all right. Now we've moved into a different event. All right, so this is an unresolved UAP report from the Middle East 2025. It's 1 minute and 39 seconds. This is an electro-optical and infrared sensor aboard a U.S. military platform. All right, so this is no longer, you know, recorded on a personal device or whatever. This is a military platform. 1 minute, 39 seconds. You can see an object there floating over a city. This thing is tracking it. And there it is. I see it moving. Little black dot in the middle. It's trying to stay with it. Stay with it. Zoom in. There we go. How could you lose that? I mean, even I'd be a great drone operator. I mean, this can't be easy. Just trying to zoom in on it, I think. It's moving in such a straight line. And you got to wonder too, why would the drone be asked to follow this? Is it you just fly around a city and if you see something flying in the sky, you follow it for a bit, or you get a report to, hey, there's something flying around the city, go check it out, bring the drone. You see what I'm saying? Like, or is this part of a mission so you know what it is ahead of time and you're just following it? But we don't get that information, right? We don't get the information if how they even get, how do we get to this point of this being recorded? What events led to this object being recorded, right? It'd be nice to know. Oh, I think it, that was interesting. I think it started to wobble there at the end. I saw a little wobbling. Hang on. Let me See right there, it's got a little thing at the bottom like a balloon. I know you don't want to hear that. Okay, I know you don't want to hear that, and I don't want to hear it either. I don't want to fucking say it. Trust me. We shouldn't be talking UFOs and alien spacecraft, and balloon even is a possibility. But at the very bottom of that white dot, look at it. Okay, walk up to your TV, zoom in on your phone. You know, get your eyeballs closer. You see that little thing at the very bottom? Watch. See how it moves? It just wobbled. See, it's wobbling. It's hard to tell. You got to really watch it closely, but you see how it's wobbling. Look at the shape. See that? I think that's a balloon. Telling you. I think that's a balloon that either got shot or something. Look at it yourself. You know, you're gonna have to zoom in. I may have to show that in a later video. Zoom. Oh, you know what? You can't see it, dude. Seriously, we can't see shit because of my effing face is over it. My apologies, y'all. Of course, how are you supposed to see that? Jesus Christ, Patrick, get it together. All right, let's watch it again. Because you can't see it. You get the right pause. Okay, right there. Make sure you can see that. Okay. Look at the bottom of the little white object. You can see a little thing, a little white thing there, like a balloon, right? Again, you really got to get in on it. I can't zoom in on that. All right, now it starts to wobble. You can see this. You can see where the little white thing moves, and it's wobbling. Yep, right there. So you can see it wobbling. See it wobbling right there. Well, I think it even just let out some air. Actually, is that what just happened? Literally looked like it shot out air. Oh, maybe not. Either way, that's what I think. Y'all can look at it and decide for yourself. And they have put balloons in this. So just say, Patrick, it can't be a balloon. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. They've absolutely given us balloons and other bullshit. So it wouldn't surprise me. All right, let's jump in. This is Middle East 2023. 30 seconds of video footage. An infrared sensor aboard a U.S. military platform. There it is. Ah, great. White screen. Is that it? That's it. Beautiful. So, you saw that one. All right. Unresolved UAP report 2025, Middle East. 14 seconds of footage. Again, an infrared sensor aboard a U.S. military platform. That's it. Yep. No context, no report, no nothing, no nada. All right. Looks like I see a boat in the background. Looks like water that could be. So something zips across the screen. Okay, did y'all see that? Let's see it again. There you go. You got to zip across the screen. Could be anything. Could be anything. All right, this looks like the boat. Okay, so this is 2023, Middle East as well. So there's something that just flew by. It camera is now looking for it. There we go. They're like, what is this little thing? Hey, little buddy. What are you doing? Where are you going? Again, is it because these guys know what this is and they know what to do and they track it? Or it's like, oh, what is this? I got to track it. We don't know. We don't know if they, or Arrow just got this video. They don't have any contact. They don't know. So, and even if they have a 99% idea of what it is, I don't think they actually classify it until they're like 100% sure of what the object is. So it's not like they're thinking, oh, this is special. It's just unresolved. Boring stuff. They're giving us the boring stuff that's not breaking anything classified. It's not, All right, I think this is the last video. It's 10 seconds long. This is a U.S. government special agent captured this video footage via handheld optical thermal imaging device during a 2026 incident in the western United States, as described in FBI UAP D032. The footage features two slow-moving, black-hot areas of contrast visible in infrared imaging. And there is a PDF with this, so we're going to check that out after we watch this video. 10 seconds. And if I'm just looking at the video, I'm thinking, what the fuck? What is that? What does that even show? Nothing. So let's look at the report. Hey, that didn't work. Hang on. Okay. Hang on, y'all. All right, this is the report. Let's zoom in. That'll help. Okay, we've got Federal Bureau of Investigation, official record, blah blah blah. Okay, special agent was interviewed. Okay, participated in the interview after being advised of the identities of the nature of the interview prior to the following information. Okay. He has held this position since. He's been with since. He has no aviation expertise. He has blank of private pilot time. Okay, so not a pilot. On the day of blank 2026 was positioned at blank. Others with him include blank blank. Okay, here we go. At approximately, what is that? 16:04. That is 4:04 p.m. He was alerted to an RF detection at redacted at 10K MSL for 5 to 10 seconds at 90 burst with an unknown bearing. Further communication clarified a request to observe at bearing 58 degrees. Within a few minutes, blank used a redacted thermal optical device to look in the direction of 58 degrees. He saw a black object in the sky. It was not moving fast. He took pictures using the optical device. While observing, he saw a second object to the right of the first and took additional photos, videos. The objects were moving together at the same speed. Both were black hot. He lost view of the objects when they traveled a distance out of view. Total observation time was approximately 5 to 10 minutes. Redacted is unable to estimate an altitude or speed. The objects were above the mountain line. They were moving in the direction of southeast, approximately 58 degrees to 62 degrees. Given the distance of the objects, it was difficult for Redacted to determine direction of travel. Redacted was the only one at his location to see the objects. He was the only one who used the optic. The Redacted agent looked at the photos. Redacted. This is 2026. So this is this year. The photos were provided. Okay. And that's it. And that's it. Okay, so now you've seen that. All right, that's it for videos. Let's go to photos. We have 3 photos. What? What the? Okay. All right, give me a second. I'll bring up the photo. Hang on. There we go. All right, let's do this. Okay, there we go. There you go. That's the photo. Let me read what comes with the photo. All right, hang on. It says, this image is an artistic interpretation. So it's not a photo, right? It's an artistic interpretation of a reported incident above Bagram Air Force Base, Afghanistan, potentially involving unidentified anomalous phenomena in June 2002. This image is based upon a first-hand description provided by a former military service member, as described in FBI UAP-DO24. And it says the Federal Bureau of Investigation prepared this digital rendering as a visual aid in 2026 in support of the Pursuit Initiative. Okay, so they had the incident and they made this image to sort of go along with it. Right? So again, it's just an interpretation of what somebody is saying they saw. A triangle in the sky, a big black triangle. All right, let's go to the next one. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna bring up the full image again. There you go. Again, this is a digital rendering again. So this image is an artistic interpretation of a reported incident potentially involving unidentified anomalous phenomena in June or July of 2011. So the last one was 2002. This one is 2011. The image is based upon a first-hand description provided by 2 former U.S. military service members. All right, so yeah, so again, they prepared this. And it looks like there is a PDF report with this. So let's bring that up. All right, so y'all can see the image. Yes, all right, so you've seen the image, which is typical. Black triangle, 3 lights. This is very similar to what a lot of people's stories are. Now, let's go to this PDF. Let me bring that up. This is a report of this incident. All right. All right, here we go. Let's zoom in a little. Perfect. So, okay, April 2025, we're interviewed by supervisory special agent, task force officer, also attending the meeting. Okay, so this might have been part of the secrets task force with Luna and Burchett and all that stuff. So it looks like someone came forward from a 2011 incident, right, to come talk about this event. Blank served 6.5 years in the U.S. Army. Blank, the other person served 24 years in the U.S. Army. So these are both of the witnesses of this event. On an evening in June or July 2011, it was dark outside when Redacted was leaving his driveway located at blah, blah, blah. Okay, at about 8 or 9 p.m. Redacted was with blank, blank, okay, who was driving the vehicle, and blank, blank, who was in the front passenger seat. The vehicle was about 50 feet from the driveway and preparing to make a left turn onto Redacted. When they reached the intersection, Redacted was looking out window and saw 3 lights in the sky. Redacted got out of the vehicle, and when he looked up, he saw a massive black isosceles triangle-shaped object flying north. The object had a car-sized white light in each of its three corners that emitted a diffuse glow and were recessed back a bit from the corners. The object was low to the ground and creating a low humming noise that made a pulsing sound. Redacted told him to take a video, but by that time, Redacted got his phone out. The object had flown over the tree line behind the houses to the north and out of sight. He had seen the object for approximately 10 to 15 seconds. There were no contrails left behind the object. Redacted felt dumbfounded and awestruck during the experience. When Redacted observed the object, he was overwhelmed by the size of it and how low it was to the ground. Redacted thought the object may have been 800 feet above the ground and was based on the dimensions of their environment. He estimated the object was 200 feet long and 100 feet wide. Redacted believed the object had more of an equilateral triangle shape, but based on the calculated dimensions, it could have been more of an isosceles triangle. The object was moving slowly and steadily, and he also heard the pulsing sound. Redacted saw the three lights in the corners, but also remembered seeing something in the middle of the triangle that was grayish or graphite colored. Neither Redacted nor Redacted had a clear memory of the thickness or any other description of the vertical profile of the triangle. They opined that they were initially underneath the triangle and didn't really have a view of its side or vertical profile. They were then temporarily distracted by their unsuccessful attempt to get a phone out to video record the UAP at the moment when they likely would have had a better view of the back profile. Redacted believed a couple of people in the neighborhood also saw the object. Redacted, blah, 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 and stated they would also try to see if Redacted, as well as their neighbors who witnessed the UAP, would be willing to write a statement about their observation or speak to the FBI about it. Okay, so they wanted to get more of the witnesses who saw it to come forward. All right. You know. So again, that's the object. All right. All right, we're moving on to the next one. This is the next object from another story. This image is what you're seeing on the screen right now, right? This image is an artistic interpretation of a reported incident potentially involving unidentified anomalous phenomena near Colorado Springs, Colorado in 2023. The image is based upon a first-hand description provided by a U.S. person, as described in FBI UAP D030. The Federal Bureau of Investigation prepared this digital rendering in 2026. So Colorado Springs, 2023. There's also a PDF. I am going to bring that up. So we've got three red lights, and this looks like a, and I can't tell, like a little military base here. All right, let's bring up the PDF of the incident of that picture we were just looking at with the three red lights. Boom. All right, let me zoom in. So again, same sort of report we've been seeing. Task force officer, yep, looks like the same type of thing. This person, it says, frequently watches aircraft, military, commercial, and civilian fly in the airspace above and around Colorado Springs. All right. So we have one witness. They say, on October, they're not giving the date, 2023, between 8 and 9:30 p.m., Redacted was working, Redacted, Colorado Springs, Colorado, Redacted, walked over to his coworker named Redacted and began looking up, admiring the stars in a clear night. As Redacted looked up, he noticed a very bright star in the sky, which initially drew his attention. Redacted was observing the star for about 5 to 10 seconds when he noticed movement in his left peripheral vision. Redacted looked further up and to his left and saw what appeared to be a dark gray colored cloud phasing into his sight. The cloud was stationary in the sky, and Redacted stated it looked very strange, as if it was pixelated or distorted in some other manner. As he watched the cloud, he saw a constant diffused red light on the bottom front point of a solid black triangular shaped object coming out of the cloud towards the southeast. The object behind the point became wider and larger as it exited the cloud until Redacted saw the entire equilateral triangular object with a red light in each of its three corners. Redacted estimated the triangle UAP was very large and could have been as large as the parking lot in which he was standing. He estimated the UAP was the equivalent of 3 to 5 stories in thickness. Based upon Redacted memory at arm's length, each of the three lights on the triangle UAP was the size of a fingernail. Hey, what? So the three lights were the size of a fingernail? Am I missing something here? But 3 to 5 stories in thickness and the size of a parking lot, but the lights were the size of a fingernail? Oh, okay. Using the arm's length of the object. The object was arm's length. How much of the light was of the object? Okay, I get it. So it's not the size of a fingernail, but in an arm's length, that fingernail, that's how much on the object, how big the light was. Okay, that took me a second to figure that out. Initially, the UAP was moving south and slightly east at a steady speed comparable to a helicopter. Redacted believed the UAP was at an altitude of 3,000 to 5,000 feet, comparable to small civilian aircraft in training flights. It then almost instantaneously accelerated to possibly Mach 1 or Mach 2 and turned slightly, heading directly south or slightly southwest. Redacted noticed there appeared to be waves surrounding and radiating from the object. He compared the waves to a mirage effect that could be observed when you look down a hot road into the distance. Redacted did not hear the object make any noise, could not see any form of propulsion, and did not smell anything out of the ordinary. Redacted believed the object was almost directly over his position, possibly over the Redacted. As the object moved, it abruptly banked 90 degrees on its left side with its three lights still visible while veering towards the right, and then it quickly banked down to level flight. The banking motion was opposite of a conventional aircraft would bank in the direction it was turning. Redacted lost sight of the object as it went over the Redacted from his perspective towards the south. Redacted looked back to where it originally came into view and noticed that the dark gray cloud had disappeared. He called his wife about 60 seconds later to tell her about the event, and she said that his voice sounded robotic, as if there was electronic interference occurring with the call. Blank cell phone service provider was redacted. Everything else is redacted. Okay, well, there you go. That's interesting. I don't know what to make of it. Again, let's it is this same event, y'all, right? Okay, so that's it. That's a rendering of what I just read from that FBI report. All right, let's go to the next thing. Oh, that's the last image. So that we've looked at all the images, all the videos. There's no audio files. We have lots of PDFs. Let's just kind of, check some of these out. See what we got. Okay. Get rid of that. All right, PDF. I'll tell you what. Let's take a 1-minute break and then let's go through these PDFs. So this is the halfway point. So we take a 1-minute break, go to the bathroom, get a drink, a little over a minute, and then we'll jump back into this. I'm going to play a quick ad. sponsored ad. Help me sponsor this video. So again, a little over a minute, and then we'll jump right back to this. Just pulled Claude Fable 5 and Claude Mythos 5 worldwide. Not because they broke, but because of US export control rules. 2 weeks later, the controls were lifted, and both models are back at full power. That's how seriously the world takes Claude, a genuinely powerful tool that's now back in everyone's hands. That's exactly why you need Outskill's free Claude Mastery Sprint this weekend. 2 full days, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. Pure, hands-on Claude. You'll run real deep research workflows, build artifacts and dashboards, put together complete presentations, and set up automations that wipe out busy work, including a job search. You'll get hands-on with Claude Code, build custom agents, generate AI visuals and videos, and walk out with your entire week running on autopilot. Plus, 3 bonuses. 50 secret Claude codes that turn it into a God-tier tool, a complete AI prompt library, and a personalized AI toolkit builder, all while being mentored by leaders from Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and NVIDIA. 2 days can change the next 2 years. Sign up before seats sell out. Link in the description. Scan the QR code and join the WhatsApp community before it closes. All right, link in the description. Yeah, y'all got to play ads sometimes. That's what keeps the lights on and the mics on. All right, let's get back to this. Let's jump into these ads here. I mean, not ads, PDFs. Okay, so we've already looked at a few of these, right? Let's see what's okay. All right, you know, we're just gonna wing it. Just gonna wing it here, y'all. We'll just check them out together. All right, so let's get a closer view of that PDF I just pulled up. Here we go. All right, clearly I'm going to zoom in. Oh, what the? Okay. Damn it. Okay, here we go. Route sheet. I don't know. Okay. Y'all might be able to read this better than me. U.S. Naval Photographic Interpretation Center. That's interesting. May 4th, 1953. It's stamped. Officer in charge, Director of Naval Intelligence, interpretation of movies of unidentified objects. So it says the results and analysis were performed by the Photogrammetry Division, Evaluation Department of the Center. Okay. The film exposed in Utah is in very poor condition, dry, brittle, and with a tendency to break. After initial viewing, duplication of the film was performed in order to preserve the film. In the duplication process, some color correction was made to permit better viewing of the objects. To prepare plots of the objects, a stop frame projector was rigidly mounted as a fixed distance from a finely ground glass screen. The magnification was 22 times, giving a format size of 14.2 inches wide. Okay, well, be nice to see this file. See these movies. This video did not come with the tranche, by the way. So it says, okay, preliminary detailed study of the film was made. It was decided that A, brightly colored spots of red and green lasting only 1 or 2 frames were not to be considered. Water spots could be detected. Okay, the color blue-white, the color of the objects was fairly constant as blue-white. Size and luminosity of an object varied throughout the film for convenience, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay. I mean, terrestrial objects, Montana. All right, this is kind of, I don't know what this is giving us here. Oh man, this is so like deep analysis here. Yeah, it'd be nice to see this in conjunction with this. I don't really. All right, I'm going to move on from this because this is 23 pages. All right, again, you can go to war.gov and see all of this for yourself. All right, we saw that. Did we see this? Hang on. Let me bring up. Okay. Um, hmm. Okay, well, let me bring this up. This actually has some images in the PDF. It's all images. All right, so you should be able to see this yourself. So, all right. And I'll read out what it says here. Actually, let's do this. So, okay, so you got two people in a backyard seeing some sort of triangular thing. Let me read what it says. It says, this image is an artistic interpretation of a reported incident near Colorado Springs, Colorado. All right, so interesting. And that's all we get is this. So, oh, there's more. Okay, so then we got that. So that's, it's moving. You can see it taking different positions. And, huh. So you can see it coming in overhead. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. All right. Let's go to another one. See if we just have more. Yep, we just have more digital rendering. So I'm just going to bring them all up. Yeah. There you go. Zoom in. And so you got a guy with on his car, by his car in the desert, seeing two red objects hovering over the. Again, I don't really have any details here. There you go. 2026. All right. Yeah, this is just a lot of clicking here. Okay. All right. Okay, boom. So this is Western United States in 2026. I think this is all part of the same incident. So they looked through binoculars and saw that thing. Again, these are not real photographs. All right, I got another one. Stay with me. All right, so you can see the 3 red dots. Now there's 2 of them. 2 objects with 3 red lights. Now there's 3 objects with 3 red lights. So this guy is seeing this multiply. I mean, I agree. That's interesting. Okay, now there's 4 objects with 3 red lights. Okay, is this every time? This is like Gremlins, bro. Now there's 5 objects with 3 red lights. And now there's 6 objects with 3 red lights. How far are we going to go? Now there's 7. No, I'm just kidding. 6 is it. So interesting. So it just kept growing by 1. Okay. All right. Stay with me. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is all part of the same event. So I guess that, they do have binoculars. They're looking through, and it seems to come down from the sky down really low, I'm assuming, or is that it zipping away? I can't tell. I don't know. All right, let's move on. We're going to take a look at this document right here from the CIA. February 1st, 1965, or no, February 11th. At least that's when it was stamped, but it has reference. Okay. Detailed analysis of the radar photography of 19th of November, 1964, and review of associated correspondence indicate that there was, in fact, no high-altitude, ultra-high-speed UFO north of Puerto Rico during the 18th to 24th of November, 1964 period. There were, however, apparently valid tracks and or observations of unidentified aircraft in the vicinity of the Atlantic Fleet Weapon Range on 16, 17, 18, 19, and 24th of November, 1964. Relative to the incident during the evening of 19th of November, the U.S. Navy F-8C pilot was able to distinguish the object as a delta shape about the size of a jet fighter. So, reported it at having much higher performance and estimated object speed to be in excess of Mach 3. The USS, I think that says Guyot or something, reported a radar crack in excess of 3,800 knots. During this incident, radar photographs were taken of the SPS-49 radar PP-1 presentation. Analysis of these photographs show a good track in excess of 300. I don't know. For the AM, I don't know. That says AM. For the object in question, the object was flying a course of about 165 degrees relative to the Guyot at a relative speed of about 485 knots. Okay. Subject unidentified flying object. At the time, the AN-SPS-49 radar aboard the Guyot was undergoing an evaluation test program, hence the use of a recording camera. In view of the radar photographs and pilot observation, it is concluded that the so-called UFO on the 19th of November was probably a delta wing fighter of a type having a significantly higher climb performance than the F-8C at the 50,000 foot altitude regime. I guess that says that. Based on the limited information provided in the associated correspondence, other objects reported during the period of 16th to 24th of November would appear to be unidentified aircraft. Apparently, missile test firings were scheduled for the AFWR during this time period, and it is conceivable that the area in question could have been an attractive target for reconnaissance. So they're sort of explaining it away here. Okay, so this is a memorandum, Assistant Director for Scientific Intelligence, subject unidentified flying object. Pardon me. Number one, OSI and OSA, we believe received similar information regarding a UFO in the vicinity of Puerto Rico during the period of 24th of November, 1964. As you can see by the cable originated by the Commander, Caribbean Sea Frontier to Commander in Chief Atlantic Fleet, date time group. Okay, all of that was informed that UFO identified by C.O. Ramey as being YF-12A. We think ONI finally convinced through our efforts that the UFO, in fact, not YF-12A or similar Lockheed aircraft. Okay, so that's it of that. Is that interesting? I don't know. You tell me. Let me see what else there is. All right. Let's look at some CIA briefing notes. This is the same event. Not really interested in that. Diplomatic cable, Brazil. Let's just see what this is. Okay. Let's do this. Boom. All right. So incoming telegram, 1963. Salvador, okay, 14th Department of State. Connection last night was weak. Please confirm or correct my understanding of your unqualified negative on local newspaper report to effect that large metal manned balloon had been found vicinity Salvador approximately November 8th. Dead crewmen aboard wearing uniform or spacesuit with strange markings. That 4-meter deep crater formed upon impact. Hey, what the hell? Large metal manned balloon. Like an egg. They're saying like a large metal, it could be an egg. And that there's dead crewmen aboard wearing uniform or spacesuit with strange markings. This is, again, 1963. Page 2. I understand further that an object had been sighted aloft in that vicinity around that date. That said object had been tentatively identified as weather-type balloon, but that no such object had been found again. Air and Science attaches appreciation cooperation. Okay. Past Defense and NASA at 2:20 p.m. November 14th, 1963. Well, I have to admit, that's interesting. All right, that was kind of fun to look at. Spacesuits with strange markings. This might be the same thing. I don't know. Let me let's look at it. You tell me. All right, so this is a diplomatic cable from Brazil in November 20th. Department of State. Why does it say Brazil? This says Salvador. Oh, okay. Embassy, Rio de Janeiro. Okay. Negative report on UFO. Reported sighting near Salvador Bahia on November 8th. Okay, information copies of the above were sent to the department with the request that they pass to Defense or the Air Force and NASA. Story of strange object descending in region of Conde Bahia, apparently fabricated in Rio. No such object seen by anyone in the area, according to newspaper reporters and others who rushed there before investigation reports were received. Secretary of Public Security speculated object might be weather balloon, but no such sighting verified. Interesting. Okay. Well, might not even happen. Oh, this looks interesting. All right, here we go. Check this out. See that? Yeah. All right, so this says Intelligence Review, January 9th, 1947. Intelligence Division, War Department. So this was just recently declassified, June 16th, 2026. Contents, ghost rockets over Scandinavia. Okay, ghost rockets, huh? That's probably, yeah. So feature section, okay, so this is what it's about. Ghost rockets over Scandinavia. Flying missiles were first reported over southern Sweden in late May 1946 by the press, which gave the missiles the name of ghost rockets. Why am I looking? I don't care about rockets. So the two most common descriptions of the missiles were a ball of fire with a tail and a shiny cigar-shaped object. See, cigar-shaped object. Maybe that's all they've been this whole time. This is interesting. The reported direction of flight covered all points of the compass, with the northerly direction being slightly predominant. Variations in altitude range from treetop height to 160,000 feet. The higher altitudes almost exclusively being reported from Finland. Speeds reported were from 65 miles per hour to lightning fast, with the majority described as having great or very great speed. The missiles generally have been described in horizontal flight. A few have been reported as diving into the ground or into lakes or exploding in the air. In no case have fragments been found other than bits of material described as non-metallic slag. Interesting, right? They've always talked about slag coming from UFOs. What if it's from missiles? One of the few reports available from an individual who should have been more reliable and competent than the average layman is that of Swedish Air Force pilot. So he describes a cigar-shaped object about 50 feet long and 3 feet in diameter, flying 200 feet above and approximately 6,500 feet away from him at an estimated speed of 400 miles an hour. I mean, that definitely sounds interesting. All right, so I mean, it's really just talking about missiles. I mean, they're calling them ghost rockets. I don't know. Again, check that out if you want more information. Let's see what else. All right, I don't really know. We're just looking. Holy cow. Okay. This next document I'm about to bring up is 245 pages. And buckle up, because we're about to go through all 204. I'm kidding. Imagine if I said that. No. Again, if you want to see the rest of these documents, go look for yourself. War.gov. Real simple. So it says flying object incidents in the United States. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Letter dated 30th of December, 1947. Was required to establish Project Sign. The conclusion appears inescapable that some type of flying object has been observed. Identification of the origin of these objects is not discernible to this headquarters. It is imperative, therefore, that efforts to determine whether these objects are of domestic or foreign origin must be increased until conclusive evidence is obtained. The needs of national defense require such evidence in order that appropriate countermeasures may be taken. Okay. Same thing. Same thing. So, oh, geez, okay. Interesting. Okay, so it's saying, in attempting to arrive at conclusions as to the nature of unidentified flying object incidents in the United States, this command has made a study of approximately 180 such incidents. Data derived from initial reports have been supplemented by further information obtained from checklists submitted by mail, from interrogations of other field agencies, and by personal investigation by personnel of this command in the case of incidents that seem to indicate the possibility of obtaining particularly significant formations. The objects described fall into the following general classification groups according to shape and physical configuration. A, flat disk of circular or approximately circular shape. B, torpedo or cigar-shaped aircraft with no wings or fins visible in flight. C, spherical or balloon-shaped objects. D, balls of light with no apparent form attached. Interesting. Some of the objects cited have definitely been identified upon further investigation as weather or upper air scientific balloons of some type. A great many of the round or balloon-shaped objects indicated in paragraph 2C above are probably of the same nature, although in most cases, definite confirmation of that fact has been impossible to obtain. Some of the objects have been identified as being astrophysical in nature. That's interesting. For example, in daylight sightings, the planet Venus has been reported as a round silvery object at extremely high altitude. Action is being taken to obtain the services of a prominent astrophysicist as a consultant to study all the incidents to determine whether some can be identified as meteors, planets, or other manifestations of astral bodies. 5, arrangements for accompanying a study of psychological problems involved in this project are being made in coordination with the Aeromedical Laboratory at this headquarters. The possibility that some of these sightings are hallucinations, optical illusions, or even deliberate hoaxes has been considered. Interesting. So this is going back to the late 40s. I mean, there's a lot here, y'all. Again, 245 pages. Let me see if there's just like something offhand here. So this says flying discs. It's kind of cut off. Project sign. The RAND Corporation. That's interesting. See that, the RAND Corporation. People have brought them up as being part of the cover-up. Project sign, study requirements. The possibility, this is project sign study requirements, Exhibit A. The possibility that some of the unidentified aerial objects that have been reported both in the United States and in foreign lands may have been experimental spaceships or test vehicles for the purpose of assisting in the development of spaceships has been given consideration by this command. If such craft actually have been sighted, it is believed more likely that they represent the effort of a foreign nation rather than a product from beyond the Earth. Present world knowledge, techniques, and resources are probably adequate to meet the requirements for spaceship construction, or at least to establish the preliminary experimental foundation for such an accomplishment in the near future. In any case, the design and performance parameters of the craft would necessarily be in conformance and consistent with the established principles of our sciences to assist in the collection of information relating to unidentified aerial objects that may possibly represent spaceships or spaceship test vehicles, and to assist in the analysis and evaluation of such reported craft. Technical information that includes the distinguishing design and performance parameters for spaceships is considered necessary. While such information is contained outright or implicitly in the series of RAND project reports, it would be of much value to this command to have a list of the special design and performance characteristics that are believed to distinguish spaceships, together with any further scientific clues that might assist in their detection and identification, prepared by RAND scientific personnel. That's super interesting. So could be spaceship stuff that, you know, other foreign nations were working on, or we were working on, or vehicles that you build to test certain things that you would then later use in space, I guess is what they're saying. You know, I don't know. That's interesting. That's super interesting. So if you want to, again, you want to check out this document, it's DOW UAP D100, okay, D100. Again, you can find this all on war.gov yourself and look through all this, because there's a lot, 245 pages. We're clearly not going through all of this. But I just want to see random, you know, it's just a lot of, there's a lot in here, y'all. I just see flying discs. Right here, see, report of flying discs, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I saw it again up here. Report of flying disc, Harrisburg. Report of flying disc, color, phosphorescent, speed, great amount of speed, heading 9 degrees, not known, altitude 68 miles, unknown, exhaust trail or not. Photo, phosphorescent trail in the sky, you know, again. Ooh, there's a lot. There's a lot. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Holy cow. All right, let's go through another one. Okay. So these are all the files we haven't looked at. We've looked at everything. Let's just check this out. Let's bring up the full document here. So this is an intelligence information report, declassified 20th of March, 2026. U.S. CENTCOM, Chief of Staff. Okay, whoa. Mothership. Y'all see that? Huh, interesting. Okay, let's check this out. Washington, D.C., 2022. We got multiple unidentified aerial phenomenon. Right here. Right there. Observed maneuvering erratically and in formation over Gulf of Oman during AC-130 gunship live fire training. Okay, so I think we saw a video of this. We saw a video of this. On 8th of September, gunship observed approximately 25 instances of UAPs while conducting a live fire exercise. See, a live fire exercise in the Gulf of Oman. The UAPs were observed as coal orbs flying at lower altitudes between 250 to 1,300 miles per hour. I mean, that's fast. In different formations, as well as maneuvering aggressively, UAPs also appeared to react to the aircraft firing its main cannon. All right, that's interesting. See, this is what you want. Some information on this. All right, so there's a lot here. Again, if you want to check all of this out, go check it out. This is DOW UAP D101. Okay. All right, let's keep going because we got more. Let's just briefly check them all out so we can see. Rio de Janeiro, November. Okay, so this is like going back to one of the other ones, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so this is just more information on the other Brazilian case that we were talking about earlier in the stream. Rio de Janeiro radio. Okay, so it reports from the municipality of Conde in Bahia say a large metal sphere fell in the center of the city, gouging a hole 4 meters deep. The mysterious sphere had window-shaped openings covered with thick glass. Inside is a human body dressed in heavy clothing, bearing inscriptions which cannot be deciphered. The population of Conde is intrigued, and the authorities have been informed. I mean, you see this, you're like, what? What the hell is going on? Okay, okay, okay. All right, we got an FBI report. There we go, you can see it. Was interviewed, okay. Won't tell us who, everything's redacted. Let's just start with the story. Again, you guys can check all this out on your own. war.gov/UFO, or just go to war.gov and you'll see it in the menu. Redacted stated that starting in October 2023, a lot of pilots have been seeing the same event occurring, namely seeing lights in the sky. Pilots have been discussing the events over, redacted. Pilots typically saw them between midnight and 3 a.m. Redacted did not know if the events occurred at the same time because this was when it was dark enough, or if it was because that was when the lights were present. Blank first observation of the lights occurred in October 2023. Redacted was flying from Boston, Massachusetts to Dublin, Ireland, where he saw the lights in the northeast towards Gander, Canada. Redacted was at an elevation of 37,000 feet and believed the lights were higher than him, probably at 50,000 feet or higher. The lights were white in color and would start out as dim and get brighter before they eventually faded out. The full cycle of the lights would range from 10 seconds to 1 minute. The lights looked like airplane landing lights, but Redacted knew that it was not them, nor did he think it was Starlink flares, satellites, or meteors. It ranged between 1 to 4 lights at a time in the sky. Some lights did not move, while others moved in straight lines, sometimes changing direction, and typically did not move in a coordinated fashion. Since spotting the lights the first time, Redacted has seen them approximately 10 times. At times, the lights would disappear for minutes before returning. Redacted has seen the lights for 45 minutes, up to 2 hours. Redacted has seen the lights in all directions except for towards the south. Redacted saw the lights 3 times in the direction of North Dakota while flying to either Seattle or Phoenix. He has also seen them off the West Coast and Mid-Atlantic coast. Redacted did not know how far away they were, but ventured they were between 200 to 500 miles away. Redacted never saw the lights below the horizon and had not heard about them prior to October 2023. During a trip on February, Redacted 2024, Redacted was able to capture video in his Samsung Galaxy S22 phone, an event involving white lights. Redacted stated the lights were brighter in person than on the camera, and the lights were similar in elevation to him or were slightly higher. The video is filmed from the cockpit of his aircraft with the lights turned off. Redacted was located approximately 150 miles northwest of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and was flying towards the east. The lights were seen towards the north in the North Dakota region at around 4:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a clear night. As captured on the video, white lights were seen, sometimes 10 or more present at once, moving around the straight lines and getting brighter, dimmer. At 3:27 mark in the video, Redacted was not sure if 2 of the lights were really close together or if it was a single light with a tail. At 3:47 mark, Redacted did not know if there were 3 separate lights. At the 5:22 mark, you can see the flight panel showing that the airplane was traveling at approximately 0.80 Mach and that the airplane was 40 to 50,000 40 to 50 miles northeast of Sioux Falls and could see the KFSD airport on the radar. Redacted never felt unsafe from the white lights and did not believe the lights were within 100 miles of him. A third event that Redacted witnessed occurred back in June 2002, while as a reservist, Redacted got activated to go to Afghanistan. One night when he was outside looking at the stars with another pilot at approximately 4:30 a.m. local time, Redacted noticed that the stars were getting blacked out over Bagram. Okay, so we saw this video. It's one of the first videos we saw. It appeared as if something huge went overhead. I think there was a video of this. It appeared as if something huge went overhead from west to east and was an equilateral triangle shape. The object was moving silently at a constant speed and altitude, possibly 150 knots, with no lights visible. Estimated it was 500 feet in size, but he could not fully see the shape of the object. The other pilot with Redacted also observed the triangle, and when it passed over, stated, "Did you see that?" Stated that he did not further discuss the sighting with anyone else, nor did he hear anyone else discussing the sighting. Okay, this is the last bit. I'll read it. While serving in the military, Redacted, looking through the data, Redacted never found information that could explain what he saw in Afghanistan in 2002. Redacted was not aware of anything that would explain what he had seen. Overall, Redacted believed that not a lot of discussions were happening openly about the events with the lights. Redacted did not think there was much stigma surrounding these events, but people were just not used to talking about it. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So this is another FBI report. On January of 2026, Blank was interviewed by Special Agent Task Force Officer. Okay, so this is all Secrets Task Force stuff here. Here we go. We saw images of this, artistic interpretations of this earlier in the stream with the couple in the backyard. That's what it sounds like. On October 2023 at approximately 10:50 p.m., Redacted and his wife were sitting on the back porch of their residence located at blank blank Colorado Springs, Colorado. The porch faces towards the southwest, and he and his wife were sitting with their backs towards the house. Blank did not remember seeing many stars in the sky that night, even though the sky was clear. As Blank was looking up, he suddenly noticed that something had flown over his house from behind him, coming from the northeast, and was moving away from him towards the southwest. The UAP appeared low in elevation, possibly as low as 300 feet. He estimated that it was roughly the size of a large SUV based on his evaluation estimation. From Redacted viewing perspective, at arm's length, the UAP appeared to be the size of the space between his thumb and pointer finger, which he approximated as 5 inches. Redacted did not think he would have noticed the UAP if it was a cloudy night. Redacted first noticed the object's movement before actually seeing its silhouette. When Redacted first spotted the UAP, he thought it appeared almost see-through, and it had what appeared to be a haze or distortion around it. He further described it appearing as if you were looking at it through mist, and that there were ripples like you were looking at an object that is underwater. The UAP looked like a perfect triangle. However, because of his viewing angle, he couldn't definitively say whether it was isosceles or equilateral in shape. Redacted stated that the UAP could have been either dark gray or silver in color, which would have blended into the night sky and with the surrounding distortion. And it may have been caused to have had the appearance of being translucent. Redacted thought the triangle had rounded edges and corners, but stated the distortion around the UAP may have made the edges less sharp in appearance. The UAP traveled away from him and his wife with a point forward facing. As it traveled away from them along the trailing, flat back edge, it had what appeared to be a band of silverish blue light. Redacted hypothesized that the light could have been caused by the mode of propulsion for the UAP. The UAP, here I am right here, moved in a straight path at a constant elevation. It moved very quickly and covered a large distance in the short time they observed the UAP. Just before they lost sight of the UAP, the left side of the triangle banked up quickly to an almost vertical orientation, but it did not change path or elevation. The UAP was completely silent, and Redacted did not feel any rumble, static, or any other effects from the object as it passed over him. Redacted residence was near an airport, and he frequently observed aircraft, including private planes and helicopters, flying over his house. He was very familiar with how a normal aircraft should appear and sound flying over his house. Redacted witnessed the UAP for a total of 4 seconds from when he initially saw it to when he lost sight of it to the southwest, potentially over redacted. The UAP disappeared from his visual sight sooner than redacted expected. It should have. Redacted stated the entirety of the observation was so quick he did not have a chance to get his phone out to take a photo or video. Blank was familiar with all United States Air Force aircraft, including the latest unmanned drones. The UAP he and his wife observed did not match anything he encountered before. The UAP was only a triangle without any extra wings, fins, or any bubble for the engine housing. Immediately following the event, both Redacted and his wife, who also witnessed the UAP, went inside to separate rooms, and wife remembered seeing a dark seam running around the edge of the UAP. So there you go. There's that. Interesting. Okay. Okay. We looked at that. Is this okay? Oh, we saw this already. Okay. Okay. We saw that too. Okay, here we go. We got a new one. Bring it up. Boom. All right, let me get situated here. Here we go. All right, you can see it. Okay. So this is 2026 as well. Statement will be attached. At approximately unidentified aerial object observation report, evening of redacted 2026. All right. On redacted 2026 at approximately 2100 hours, which is 9 p.m., I, redacted special agent, was positioned in the same general observation area referenced in my prior statement from redacted. While conducting observation in the area, I observed a thermally elevated aerial object in the same general western sector and along a similar heading as the object observed the previous night. The object appeared approximately 2 ridgelines farther west than the location where the redacted object was observed. Due to the increased distance and terrain separation, I was unable to identify specific physical characteristics of the object or determine its exact configuration. However, the object presented as a hot aerial object through thermal observation and appeared to be flying southbound, consistent with the general direction of travel observed during the prior night's sightings. During this same operational period, I also recorded video of a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter operating in the same general area. The purpose of recording the helicopter was to establish a visual and thermal reference point for scale, flight characteristics, and comparative size assessment. Based on my observation in comparison to the Black Hawk helicopter, the unidentified aerial object appeared to be approximately half the size of the Black Hawk. This size comparison is an estimate only based on observed appearance, distance, and available reference footage. I was unable to determine the object's make, model, propulsion type, or whether it was fixed wing, rotary wing, or other unmanned aerial system due to the distance and limited observable detail. The object continued southbound and was eventually lost from observation due to terrain and distance. Okay, let's go to another one. I think this. Okay, we got 2 more documents and then we're done with everything. So let's just knock these out. Let's go to all of them. Since we're here. All right, let's see here. There we go. I think we haven't seen this one. Okay. I mean, a lot of that's redacted there. Okay, so on blank of 2026, redacted and redacted left the blank redacted 7:45, and we're headed to a location on the central northern portion of redacted. Weather condition at the time was rainy with significant cloud cover. Approximately 30 minutes after passing through the redacted, approximately 8 to 8:30 p.m., redacted saw two unidentified lights in the sky, pulled over to the side of the road, and exited the vehicle to investigate. Redacted described the lights as dash-shaped and dull red in color to his naked eye. The lights moved along the ridgeline of the mountains to his west. Redacted was equipped with night optical devices and observed the lights through said optics as well. Redacted relayed that despite being dash-shaped to the naked eye, the lights appeared orb-like or circular through the nods, with the characteristic nod halo around them, which is typical when looking at a light source through nods, night optical devices. Redacted stated that he is very familiar with using nods, as he has been using them for 25 plus years and has many hours of experience. Redacted stated that he has astigmatism, and while the objects appeared dash-shaped to him, stated they appeared triangular or diamond-shaped, which could possibly be attributed to redacted astigmatism. After approximately 20 minutes, both of the aforementioned unidentified lights disappeared. Shortly thereafter, redacted observed another similar unidentified light appear directly above their location, was visible for approximately 10 minutes before it too disappeared. Sometime between 10 and 11 p.m., redacted observed another similar unidentified light appear approximately 600 meters estimated to the east of their position and appeared to be approximately 500 feet above their vehicle. The unidentified light appeared to move toward them and stopped approximately 400 meters away. A second unidentified light appeared and moved toward, and then stopped in proximity of the first. The second light appeared to be approximately 6 feet off the ground. As redacted watched the two unidentified lights to the east, he noticed light in his peripheral vision descend from altitude and stop in a dry wash approximately 100 meters behind them. Although redacted could not directly see the light source, he observed the glow emanating from the wash. Redacted watched the glow move through the wash. Redacted entered their vehicle and drove up to the next intersection in an attempt to get a better view of the unidentified lights to their east. Upon arrival, the lights were no longer observed. Redacted returned to their original position, but were unable to reacquire the unidentified lights. Redacted walked 10 to 20 meters away from the vehicle to look around the area. Redacted remained near the vehicle. At this time, Redacted adjusted the filter on his nods to look at his watch, which displayed approximately 1 a.m., estimated based on memory. Redacted's watch was a Redacted men's automatic analog watch. Redacted walked back to the vehicle to check his phone, which displayed 12:40 a.m. Redacted noted the discrepancy, compared the time displayed on his watch to the time displayed on his phone, and observed that the time on his watch was 25 minutes ahead of the time on his phone and the vehicle's digital clock. Relayed the same discrepancy to Redacted, whose digital watch displayed the same time as the phone's and the vehicle clock. Redacted stated that he had owned that watch for approximately 5 years and it had never been off by more than 60 to 90 seconds. Redacted had last checked the time on his watch at approximately 10 p.m., and it was accurate at that time. Redacted stated that his watch was the only mechanical, analog, non-digital clock in the vicinity at the time, and it was the only clock that displayed a different time. Redacted did not adjust his watch or reset the time for 24 hours to see if it continued to malfunction. The watch continued to keep accurate time, but remained 25 minutes fast. Redacted told agents that he had spent a considerable amount of time at a Redacted facility looking up at the night sky and was familiar with how stars, satellites, meteors look to both the naked eye and with nods. Redacted stated that the lights he observed and described were unlike anything he had seen before. Redacted stated that the lights he observed on Redacted did not behave like satellites, as satellites track linear across the sky, whereas these did not. Redacted stated the unidentified lights moved around and changed direction and also appeared to be as low as 6 feet off the ground. That's interesting. The low elevation lights described by Redacted would have been backdropped by the mountains and below the relative horizon line. Redacted stated that what he observed was not a UAS that he familiar with. Redacted noted no exhaust or tail when these objects moved, and they exhibited no audible sound signature. Redacted attempted to observe the objects through thermal optics, but was unsuccessful. Redacted noted no physiological effects from the events. Redacted stated that the observations did not include a fear or agitation response, just curiosity. Redacted conversed about this afterward, and given their backgrounds, found it strange that they did not feel fear or threatened during their observations. Redacted provided his contact information and was open to further contact from agents. Okay. All right. All right. We got one more file to look at, and that's it. So let's just knock it out. Let's do it. One more. Pardon me. All right, get a little coffee. Let's see here. So again, this is from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. All right, let's read it here. Was interviewed telephonically by Federal Bureau of Investigation after being advised to identify the provide the following information. Okay. So there's a phone call interview from the FBI. Redacted arrived at redacted 2026 to support the redacted. On redacted 2026, approximately 2100 blank with the intention of driving north on redacted for area reconnaissance. When they arrived at the gate to redacted, it was raining heavily, so they waited for the rain to subside, which it did shortly thereafter. Redacted then unlocked the gate and began driving north on redacted at approximately 2200, so 10 p.m. at night. After they had gone approximately 25 miles, Redacted noticed a red light at the crest of the mountain range to their west and pulled over to investigate. Initially, Redacted thought the light was something on the mountain, but it began to move to the east. Due to the mountain range being approximately 5,000 feet and the cloud cover being at approximately 7,000 feet, Redacted stated he believed the light was traveling somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 feet above ground level. After approximately 15 minutes, as Redacted watched this light, multiple more, approximately 6 to 10 lights appeared directly over their position. These lights, along with the first observed light, appeared to sync up and travel to the east, southwest, southeast. During this time, one of the lights descended rapidly, estimated approximately 1,000 feet, and then disappeared. The other lights continued east, southeast, and disappeared as well. Redacted described the lights as red in color and stated that a first glance, as well as when observed through night optical devices, the lights appeared as a single point of light. However, upon closer observation, or while squinting, the lights appeared to each be three separate lights in a triangular or diamond-shaped pattern. So this is from the artistic interpretations that we saw, where it had the three lights, and I was going through each one, and it just kept adding. It was like one light, two light, three, and there was three red lights. That's this story right here. All right. Redacted stated that each cluster of the three lights moved in tandem and never separated, as if all the three lights were attached to the same object. Redacted also noted that the cloud cover was heavy at this time, to the point that no stars were visible. At approximately 2350, which is 11:50 p.m., okay, almost midnight, Redacted witnessed two lights on or close to the ground to their east, which were only visible using nods. One of the lights moved west towards their position, and the second, which was south of the first, moved north and stopped in the vicinity of the first light. Both lights appeared to stop approximately 200 to 300 meters from their position. Pardon me. As Redacted watched these lights to his east, he saw a rapidly moving streak of light on the periphery of his vision. Redacted described it as analogous. Is that it? Analogous, I think, to how a sparkler or a flashlight looks at night if someone moves it quickly, where the light tail is visible behind the light source. Redacted turned to look at the source, but was only able to see a bright hue of light emitting from the vicinity, as the source was in a defilade. I don't know that word. Defilade, I don't know. The hue moved north, following the defilade until it faded out or disappeared. The lights to their east also disappeared. Redacted then got into their vehicle and attempted to drive east to the vicinity of their observations, but were unsuccessful. They then returned to their original position, parked, and exited the vehicle. After some time, Redacted walked back to the truck to check his phone and give his eyes a break. Redacted then asked Redacted what time he had and relayed that his watch was 25 minutes fast. Redacted was wearing a digital watch which displayed the same time as their cell phones and the vehicle clock. Redacted's watch was the only analog digital clock and was the only clock that was different. Redacted relayed that he had known Redacted for years and described him as squared away. Having an inaccurate watch or faulty gear was not something he would let happen. Moreover, Redacted had been looking at his watch throughout the day night and had been accurate up to this point. Redacted stated he did not have any physiological reactions, effects during or on or after the above described events. Okay, so this sounds like different versions of the same event from two different sides, right? So not the guy with the watch that we just read, but the other guy that was with him. So and he's kind of backing up his story a little bit here, right? So that's essentially what's happening. All right, that's it, y'all. That is all the files. We literally looked at everyone. Again, we didn't look at all of the files for everyone. Most of them we did, but there were some that were really long. So feel free to go check those out. Let me bring it up one more time just to show y'all. Right, so you go to war.gov. You can see all the files like this. Again, it's separated by release. This is the 5th release, the 5th tranche. You can search by PDF, image, video files, right? And you can, I'll put the website on the screen right there, war.gov/UFO. That will get you there, and you can check all of this out on your own. All right. Now let's just get to, we'll hang out for a little bit, not too long, and then I'm going to close it out. But let's see here. All right. Remove all that. Okay. All right. Let's get to some comments here. I just arrived. Another nothing burger so far? I don't know. That's up for you to decide. For me, it's kind of a nothing burger, in the sense that there's just not a lot of context. There's some interesting things, but again, we're just talking about unresolved stuff, unidentified stuff. They said they have identified stuff. I say this every tranche release, right? I say the same thing. They say they have identified stuff. They said they have identified alien craft and body, right? This whole topic isn't about, does the government have identified stuff? No, the whole cover-up argument is that they have alien shit, alien craft and bodies, identified as alien, right? Or whatever they are, non-humans, right? But that's the information we want. We don't want all this bullshit. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's not valuable, but when you have these other things, why are you know what I mean? Why are we, you're saying you got filet mignon, but you're offering me breadcrumbs over here. Like, what? I'm not happy with that. Give me the thing you talked about. You said you got the alien craft and bodies. Let's get that out. Let's be talking about that. There should be nothing else on the table. No other conversation. But they're just giving us this bullshit, which I just don't really care about this stuff. Again, goes in one ear, out the other, essentially. There's no real, there's no real data points here. I don't know. Some of the vintage stuff that's, 40s, 50s, whatever that was in there. I mean, it's interesting just for nostalgia, right? Looking at old documents, that was just kind of cool. But past that, there's not a lot of context to the videos and photos and this and that, right? We got a little bit from some reports, but, again, let's see the identified stuff. The stuff you say we have identified. Why is that not being pushed out, right? We're just getting all the bottom of the barrel. The stuff that, when you're cleaning out your house and you're going to move or something, and then like you're going to give stuff to Goodwill, that's what we're getting. We're getting the BS that nobody wants. So it is what it is. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comments here. Let's get some comments up on the screen. Just tell me what you thought of the tranche or whatever you want. I want to make sure I'm fair here to everybody. or if you have a question. Let's see here. I don't know. I haven't read this here. Okay, Mystic Marks. Who gets the craft when government falls out? Odd, so many attacks against potential custodial nations. USSR fell out and had 600 suitcase weapons go missing. That's a good point. What happens to the craft? Exactly. That's a great point. Yeah, the USSR fell out. Like, what happened? Where did all that go? Right? What happened to all the craft and stuff they were working on and stuff you hear about? That's a great question. Probably because there's nothing. There's probably no craft. How long can people say that the government has craft without actually ever having to show it as proof? Does that make sense? It's like we'll get to see everything but the thing they said there is, right? We get to hear stories from witnesses and document this and that, everything else but the craft and bodies. That's what we don't get to see for 80 plus years. How long can that go before people just say, forget it, bro? Until the craft and bodies come out, I don't care. You can keep telling me that there's craft and bodies all day long. You keep repeating the same things on interviews, podcasts, documentaries. How long can people do that, right? Eventually a new generation comes out and you got to just repeat the same things to catch people up, right? That's essentially what the industry is. It's probably like a 10 to 15 year industry that gets repeated over and over again. And the same stuff comes out every 10 to 15 years. And they just keep repeating the same stuff. Maybe some new stuff gets thrown in, but essentially that's all it is. This is really a 10 to 15 year cover up that's been multiplied multiple times, right? It's just been stamped over and over and over and over. Disclosure, cover up, same thing again, but never the proof that we want, that we deserve to have because we've been told so many times it's there. And for people to get mad at the audience or people like us who are demanding better evidence and demanding this proof, and like, hey, stop demanding the proof, calm down. This is a process. This is it. Hey, you're the one telling us, don't gaslight us. You're the one telling us there's this craft and the bodies and all this stuff that would change humanity forever. Don't be mad at us because we're demanding to see it, to believe you, to support more, right? We want to support, we want to help. If we knew there was actual craft and body, absolutely knew, you don't think that humanity would get behind getting that information out? That's why somebody needs to leak a photo, a video, something that would prove to the world, oh shit, this is real. Let's really get on this, right? Let's really put pressure on the government. From now, everyone's forced to put pressure on the government and support whistleblowers and cases and things without much evidence. The best evidence you hear is, I'm a credible guy. I'm trustworthy. Trust me, bro. My sources told me, right? And people just, well, he's a credible person, right? So I believe him. That's not enough for the public. We're going to have to see the evidence, and we shouldn't stop demanding more and demanding better. Don't stop. The moment you let off, the more shit they give you. That's the problem. You know what I mean? You don't start complaining that this isn't good enough and that we want to see what we deserve. Again, we shouldn't be gaslighted into feeling embarrassed that we're asking for evidence and proof of people's claims. Like all of a sudden you're the enemy in UFO land if you're like, I don't know if I believe this guy and I'd like to see some evidence of his claim. How dare you? His family's been threatened and he's going through a lot. Okay, well, I don't have anything to do with that. That has nothing. He's talking about fantastical claims. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I hope he's fine with his family. I don't know. That doesn't make me believe you because things have happened to you, right? It's like we're sold with emotion. People get very emotional and they want to sell you with that emotion. So you sympathize with them and you don't really ask for the proof, right? Because you feel bad. So you're like, I don't really want to push this guy. He's emotional right now. Speaking of, I have a video with about Dylan Borland coming out later today. I've been working on it since the interview came out all day yesterday and the day before as well. And it's coming out today. It's a long video, but it's well worth it. Go through a lot. And I hope you check it out when it comes out. Matthias is back. He says, just roll out the alien like in Disclosure Day. Anything else is BS. P.S. Hello from Argentina. Buenas, Mateas. Buenas, tío. ¿Cómo estás? So I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to bitch. I just, people think I bitch a lot or I'm complaining all the time. I'm not complaining. It's more like I'm demanding what we deserve. What you told me there's alien, craft in bodies. Why is it so wrong that I'm like asking to see that so I can believe it and then move forward with more things, right? It's basically like at this point I've gotten an email from a prince in Nigeria telling me that he needs money to help him out, right? That's how I feel right now. I've gotten this email and I'm like, okay, show me the proof. This is probably a scam, but let me see some proof and maybe I'll help out, right? Like that's it. We've basically gotten emails from princes in Nigeria, and and people are mad that you're questioning that and wanting more, right? Don't put it on me. Don't gaslight me. I'm gonna keep asking for the proof and evidence that we deserve. Sorry, you know, give me all the fantastical claims you want. Get emotional if you want. All of that stuff. Nothing will keep me from the main focus, the main goal, which is evidence and proof that has nothing to do with people's testimony, witness statement, right? Like eliminates all the bias and all the filter, all the weird filters between it. You don't have to worry about any of that. Is this person lying, not lying? You don't have to worry about any of that. Evidence and proof will take care of that, right? Definitive evidence and proof of these craft and bodies that is claimed to be hidden by the US government. And again, they don't just claim one body and one craft, they claim multitudes of both in different species of aliens. We have agreements with aliens, all this stuff. Let's see something. Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it and then saying you can't talk about anything else, but you can say that. It doesn't make sense. You can wet the whistle, right? And then you just gaslight people. Well, I can't talk about that. Sorry, I just can't talk about it. But I can talk about this thing that isn't really it's just a claim without any foundation. I can tell you, what's behind the door. I just can't show you that. I just can't open the door and show you. I can't even prove to you there is a door. I can just talk about a door, something behind the door, but I can't ever show you the door or show you what's behind the door. You're just going to have to take my word for it. Not good enough. Mr. Knightman says it's simple. Show indisputable proof. Indisputable proof is anything that is seen and universally accepted. It rarely comes from authority. I can't help but believe this is all diversionary. Could be. And I agree. Definitive proof. Could come from citizens. Doesn't have to come from the government. Doesn't have to come from the government. Citizen disclosure, baby. Let's go. I like it. It should be that way. And yeah, that's just reality. But everyone should do whatever they want, right? And I think you can simultaneously do two things, which is support people that come out to tell stories, whistleblowers and whoever else. You can support them, but also demand the evidence and proof. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So, and whistleblowers and other people should understand how people are going to be skeptical of them without any evidence or proof of their claims. They never provide any evidence or proof as a whistleblower. You say, no, Patrick, they're providing it behind the scenes. Okay. Again, we have to just take people's word. That's it. That's all we get. We're forced. All the hard work falls on us as an audience. We have to do all the hard work by essentially taking people's word. That's what we're supposed to do. And then let's say I take your word for it. Then what? What do you want me to do with that information? Change my life? Just support you? For what? People want, if you order a meal at a restaurant, you want the meal. You don't want the waiter coming by every 5 minutes to tell you how good this meal is going to taste when it arrives. Oh man, it's going to be so good when that steak comes out, sir. And you're like, great, can't wait till it comes out. They come back 5 minutes later, sir, that steak, when it comes out, oh my God, you're never going to believe it. Let me show you some reviews of other people that have had the steak and how well they enjoyed it, right? Ooh, Johnny from Arizona last week really enjoyed that steak. So you're hearing all this thing and you're going, great, send the steak out. Can't wait till that steak comes out. Another 5 minute come by. Oh, sir, the steak is going to be so amazing. And just all night, forever, you just keep hearing that, but you never get the steak. The steak never comes out. How frustrated are you going to be, right? That's essentially where we're at. Bring the steak already. Stop telling me how good it is. Stop telling me that it's coming. Stop telling me. I'm starting to even wonder if this, am I in a real restaurant? You know, no, I don't know what's going on. So anyway, all right, let's see. Let's make sure we cover everything. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the 5th tranche. I'm going to sign off here. What else? That's it. 5th tranche. Again, go to war.gov if you want to check out any of the files. Look for my new video about Dylan Borland coming out later today. It's a good one. Check it out. I've worked really hard on it. And that's it. You know, throw down in the comments of the video what y'all think of the tranche or what you want to see, you know, happen. Those sort of things. I think that's all fair, you know, to talk about what would help us enjoy these tranches a little bit more, right? What would we like to see in these tranches? So anyway, thank you to everyone who showed up and watched and stuck around. I know that's a lot, but I think it's a lot easier to go through if we do it together, right? We don't have to put up with the bullshit alone. We can put up with the bullshit together. Beautiful. Share the bullshit. Let's share the bullshit, y'all. It's beautiful. Thank y'all again. Hope you have a good rest of the day. We'll see you guys on the next one. Remember, Vedas, every day's a gift, y'all.
No one likes this guy named Patrick. He's kinda pathetic, so tragic. Makes the most with the little that he has. Chasing aliens and UFOs. He lost his marbles, everyone knows. Makes the most with the little that he has. Like a paper bag, he won't last. Some say he's sensational, others say he's delusional, but most agree he fucking sucks. Some say he's not the sharpest tool, others say he's just a tool, but most agree he fucking sucks. He goddamn for sure fucking sucks. He goddamn for sure fucking sucks. No one likes this guy named Patrick. Super pathetic, dramatic, kinda believes in magic. Magic makes the most with the little that he has. Chasing aliens and UFOs. What's next? The moon is a hoax. Well, I kinda believe in that one myself. Anyway, back to the song. Makes the most with the little that he has. Like a paper bag, he won't last, but no.